KFI, Mr. Mo Kelly. We are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. No, I did not feel the earthquake. No, it is not worth talking about. It was only a 3.9, and only 4 people in Hollywood felt it, or so I'm told. I was bouncing in and out of the Oscars last night, watching some of the after returns and the interviews. Then someone said, earthquake on social media. I said, what are you talking about? I felt nothing, absolutely nothing. And so there are a couple of sources that I went to find out whether there was actually an earthquake. And they said, yes, it was a whole 3.9. And you know me, it was not a 5 point something. So it's not really worth getting into. Maybe to Waller in all his conspiracy theories. But for me, not a big deal. And something else, I had a lot of faith in Mark Runner. Good evening, Mark Runner.
Hello, Mo.
I had a lot of faith in his weather reports this last week. We're supposed to have rain, which is going to start on Friday, maybe carry through the weekend, and then into next week. I did not see one drop of rain this weekend. Not a drop.
I feel as if I should apologize to you personally.
Well, you thought you were pretty confident, weren't you?
Well, what I did was took information from the National Weather Service.
Oh, you can't trust them.
No.
One of those federal agencies that need to be gutted.
Yeah, full of disinformation. yeah. You're aware that forecasts do change as time passes, right?
They do, but they have a responsibility to be somewhat accurate. And I just thought we would get some rain in my area. Did not get a drop. Stefan, did you get any rain in your area?
Nope, just crazy wind.
Oh, yeah, the wind on Saturday was crazy.
Nuts.
It's crazy. I didn't hear anything about the wind coming. There was going to be a wind event. That was, I would say, arguably as bad as during the fires. It was really, really, I'll say, it was concerning at a certain point. It was concerning. But that's, that was I'll say the extent of my weekend. Nothing beyond that really happened. I mean, I went out and did my errands, and I was thinking it was going to rain. I went to a wedding on Saturday with the wife. Didn't rain, thank goodness. There was an earthquake, didn't feel it. I feel like, here's the point, I feel like I missed out on everything this weekend. There was no rain, didn't know about the earthquake. I watched a little bit of the Oscars, and I'll get to that later on. I was thoroughly underwhelmed. Thoroughly. The tribute to Quincy Jones, that was sad.
How about that BS James Bond tribute?
That was sad with Doja Cat.
That made me cringe.
It was and Conan O'Brien, he was lukewarm for me. I don't think he really took a lot of risks, with the exception of that Drake joke. We'll get into that later. I just thought the whole show was thoroughly underwhelming.
Well, part of the reason for that is because the selection of movies up for awards were the most underwhelming crop I've ever seen, and the one that was the big winner of the night, vastly overrated.
Oh, I didn't see the movie, but I don't want to see the movie now just because it won 5 Academy Awards. I was not interested in the least. And let me just say this. I don't know Adrian Brody, but I know I didn't like the person that I saw on stage in that acceptance speech.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
It was 5 minutes and 40 seconds long. It got so long, I chose to go to commercial. I was sick of hearing him pontificate with this false humility. He loves himself something awful. And when he shushed the orchestra from playing him off the stage, I just said, come on, dude.
Well, the thing is, if you're going to shut up the orchestra and be like, listen, this isn't my first rodeo, say something that makes it worth it. And he didn't.
He didn't. He made it about himself, and I think he fancies himself as far more intelligent and far deeper than he actually is.
He just personal. You seem to have a bee in your bonnet about him. You don't like him.
Well, ever since he kissed Halle Berry without my permission back in 2003,
I was jealous of that too. But I saw some footage from after the show, and apparently she repaid the favor.
It's interesting, if only because Halle Berry's present boyfriend, Van Hunt, I don't think attended with her. I didn't see him anywhere. And also, she kissed Adrian Brody in front of his, I don't know if it was girlfriend, fiance, wife, his female date for the evening. And it didn't seem as inappropriate and forced upon him. I mean, look, if his punishment for forcibly kissing Halle Berry without her, knowing it was going to come back in 2003, if his comeuppance was she kissing him, that's not a bad deal.
That's real rough, isn't it?
That's not exactly punishment.
Who could tolerate that? Listen, if Halle Berry's not your hall pass, nobody is.
Oh, my goodness. There are a couple other stories I got to tell. One day, I'm just not sure I can tell them yet.
Oh, let's have it.
But I can't say this. I have kissed her on the mouth.
What?
True story. True story.
And it was her. Actually her.
More than once.
Not a female impersonator.
Oh, word.
Okay.
Word. True story.
All right, going to need details.
And it was at her house.
And footage.
This was before the whole Instagram thing. I don't care if people believe me or not. I got a picture of her and me in her kitchen. Okay. That's going to have to suffice.
I'll need to see it.
All right. I'll send it to you.
All right.
I'll send it to you. But
let me just one more thing about the Oscars, the James Bond tribute. It was a tribute to Barbara Broccoli and Michael Wilson, who had been in charge of the franchise since Cubby Broccoli died. So some clips of one of the films wasn't an official Broccoli Eon film in there. They showed clips from Never Say Never Again, which Broccoli and Wilson had absolutely nothing to do with. So did Doge get put in charge of the Oscars this year?
There were a lot of mistakes. Of course, people are going to complain about, for example, the in memoriam segment, how they managed to get in Gene Hackman. I'm not opposed to that, but there were a lot of other people like Shannon Doherty and others who were overlooked. I understood what they were trying to do. Each person they put in memoriam, there was like a 5 or 6 second clip of a line that they were saying, and they obviously couldn't put everyone in there. I would rather have them just list all the names, not have to give actual screen time to them, or you show the pictures. And then you could have gotten everyone in, because invariably important people to the industry who may not be household names or even maybe household names are invariably left out. And it's unnecessary. One year they'll say, well, so-and-so was left out because it wasn't within the eligibility year, that we'll honor them next year. And then I see Gene Hackman basically close it out. It's like, well, that excuse goes out the window.
Yeah. If you want a good rundown of some of the names that were missing, check out the vintage LA accounts on all across social media. Allison Martino, who we had as a guest on here once, she did a pretty good rundown.
And there were a lot. And that's what bothered me. There were a lot of names, many of them well known enough to justify being put in that reel. But we have so much more to talk about. We have a full show tonight. It's later with Mo Kelly, so do not go anywhere. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We have a huge Tesla and Elon Musk update. Newly obtained documents have revealed Tesla's application for a transportation charter party carrier permit from the California Public Utilities Commission. This classification would allow Tesla to own and control a fleet of vehicles to offer ride-hailing services and compete with Uber, Lyft, and Waymo. And this is going to really piss off Mark Ronner, because it's more evidence that this technology and these services are here to stay.
Not you anymore? You and I parted ways on this?
No, I'm not angry. I'm just saying I'm at the point of acceptance. I'm past denial. I don't like it, but I'm saying, it's coming. I still think it's premature. I don't think from an infrastructure standpoint and a societal standpoint, we're ready for it. But when you have at least 3 major companies fighting over the future of this market, and you know that Elon Musk is going to throw literal billions into it, even though it may not be ready for prime time, it's still coming.
So what you're saying is, if you know it's going to happen one way or the other, you might as well just settle in and enjoy it.
I don't know about that. I'm saying that I won't have anything to do to be able to stop it. I think it is inevitable.
Foosh, the tape is running, correct?
Yes, it is.
Because I just want to make sure. March 3rd, 2025, Tuwala was right on Later with Mo Kelly.
Right about what? Let's be clear, since the tape is running.
I said that this was going to happen much sooner than we thought. Mo thought this was going to be years down the line. I said, no, sir, this will be months down the line. This is coming. There is no denying it. There was denial all around this show. I was even accused of being on the take.
Well, that's still true.
And now
these are not mutually exclusive ideas. You can be on the take.
That has not been disproven.
Look, Elon Musk has stepped in because even Elon knows that this is the future.
Yeah, and as we all know, he's just got the Midas touch. Everything he puts his hand to turns to solid gold, doesn't it?
There's a real point to discuss in what Mark just said here. We know with the State of the Union, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we know the State of the Union tomorrow. And depending on what President Trump says, is going to have untold impact on the stock market. Mm-hmm. We also know that the tariffs are supposed to be levied tomorrow against China, Mexico, and possibly Canada and others. That's going to have a financial impact. What I'm looking to see is whether the State of the Union and those tariffs will have a negative impact on Tesla stock price, and whether that will also be indicative of the economy moving in a different direction. Because I don't know if Stefan saw this, but I was driving around my neighborhood yesterday, and I was in the SpaceX area. And it's really, I want to say maybe 2-3 miles from where I live. And it was this large street-long protest at SpaceX. And supposedly it was a protest against Elon Musk's involvement in the White House. If the past is prologue, I wonder when the public perception is going to then start impacting his businesses, if at all. And tomorrow, I believe, will be very enlightening in that regard.
Those protests have been all across the country. And you saw the stock market today. It got curb stomped.
About 700 down or something like that?
Let's see here. I've got it right here handy. The Dow closed down 650. NASDAQ was down 498. That's significant. And the economists that I've read say that's directly because of the announcement of the tariffs kicking in.
Right.
And they're predicting a recession, too.
Could be.
Tomorrow is going to be huge. Not only the message which comes forth, but whether President Trump actually goes through with the tariffs. Sometimes I believe he puts it out as a trial balloon to see how the markets will react. They did not react positively any time in which he's mentioned tariffs. If he goes in hard with tariffs in his State of the Union address, and I believe that he will, so we're talking Wednesday, you would have the response. It could be real telling what is going to happen to the perception of Tesla. I believe we know that Elon Musk is going to be at the State of the Union. There are published reports saying that he will be there. Mm-hmm. I'm really curious to see what happens now and what happens to Tesla, because if you look at Tesla stock over the past 3 months or so, there was a rise up until the election, and when Trump won, Tesla stock shot up, but it's been on a downward trajectory since then. And the more Elon Musk has been involved with Doge and the firings of federal employees, Tesla stock price has dipped consistent with that.
I believe that we will see in the very near future Elon Musk appoint someone to be in charge of Tesla and to step away, because I believe that on the inside, there has to be someone in there saying, I'm pointing out exactly what you are. And he is not letting Tesla go. But if he takes himself away as the face of Tesla, Tesla will be fine. Because I know several Tesla owners, and they're like, Elon Schmelon, my Tesla is legit.
Yes, but if you're a Tesla stockholder and you start losing millions of dollars over the course of a year unnecessarily just because the public perception of Elon Musk is a drag right now, I could see a situation where the shareholders or the board will say, okay, Elon, we need you to step back and just be a figurehead. Which is what I believe that's what's going to happen. And tomorrow will be an indicator of how soon that's going to happen. But I believe that's going to happen regardless, because I feel he is going to jump headfirst into this Doge, quasi, kingmaker behind the scenes president that he is. And money talks. I mean, at the end of the day, money will be the biggest variable in the equation. If the Tesla stock price, I think it's like $290 right now, have that drop down to about $190, you will see a precipitous change in Tesla. Now, SpaceX is different. It's a private company, so we don't necessarily know how that's going to impact SpaceX, with the exception of Doge, quite sure is going to protect all those SpaceX contracts, so they won't be losing any money. They'll probably even get more money from the federal government if the past is prologue. Oh, and there's also this. Did you see the video? It's more music than anything. I can't really play it. But Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yes.
Cassandra Peterson, on her Instagram, she had this video which showed this Tesla sedan being towed away. And on the side of the car, it read Elon sucks, S-U-X. And the X was in the image of the social media network, the logo of X. Mm-hmm. And they showed the Tesla on this flatbed tow truck being towed away. And from what I understand, she sold her Tesla, painted on the Elon sucks, and then donated the proceeds to NPR. To your point, Tuala, if there's more of a negative perception attached to the brand, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
If you see more and more public pronouncements of the association of Tesla, the company, with Elon Musk, the person, I don't know if that's sustainable long term, especially if the economy turns south, because they're going to blame someone. And that means, and wait a minute, I forgot, you can't fire these thousands of people and not have that impact the unemployment numbers.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting on. If you want to have some 10,000 people lose their jobs, you're going to have to answer for that at some point.
Well, we're also going to need some reporting on what seems to be really obviously him self-dealing and firing people in charge of regulating and investigating his own companies.
There'll be reporting, but what President Trump has done is made sure, by, like, for example, firing inspectors general, there will be no one to investigate. There will be no one to impeach. There will be no one to bring charges. There'll be no one to file any reports. There'll be no one to stop anything he wants to do. We saw this coming. He said he was going to do it. He's in the process of doing it. So there's really no one to stop him from doing anything. Yes, there will be reporting on it, Mark. I just don't think it will make a damn bit of difference.
Can't say I'm a huge optimist myself.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And you might remember Chris Kluwe, the former NFL punter. We talked about how he was arrested in a moment of protest at that Huntington Beach City Council meeting, protesting the MAGA plaque that they were going to put on the City Council wall. Well, there's more bad news for Chris Kluwe. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And we told you about former NFL punter Chris Kluwe. He was the one who went to that Huntington Beach City Council meeting. He was, in effect, protesting the MAGA plaque, which was going to be placed on City Hall wall or something like that. And this is what happened, just as a refresher. He was speaking up in the city council meeting and was subsequently arrested. He intentionally had himself arrested as he approached the city council people and sat down in front of him.
Hi, my name's Chris Kluwe, 15-year HB resident. I'm here to speak out against both the plaque and the current city council. As the community made clear at the Library Commission meeting last Tuesday, everyone is in favor of a plaque to celebrate the library, but the vast majority are against including a MAGA acrostic. Okay? Unfortunately, it's clear that this council does not listen, so instead I'm going to take my time to say what MAGA has stood for these past 3 weeks. MAGA stands for trying to erase trans people from existence. MAGA stands for resegregation and racism. MAGA stands for censorship and book bans. MAGA stands for firing air traffic controllers while planes are crashing. MAGA stands for firing the people overseeing our nuclear arsenal. MAGA stands for firing military veterans and those serving them at the VA, including canceling research on veteran suicide. MAGA stands for cutting funds to education, including for disabled children. MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience. Get the heck. Get out.
Was it just me? It almost sounded like I was listening to Austin Powers. Get in my belly. Get the heck in my belly.
Get the heck. Get out. Yeah, we're going to take a 5-minute recess.
Now to update the story. Chris Kluwe said on Friday in media reports that the school that he was working at, and he was coaching freshman football at Edison High School in Huntington Beach, said the school had fired him because, quote unquote, the incident was getting too much attention. And let me just say this. I can appreciate anyone, regardless of their views, using free speech, using their platform, whatever it might be, to either have their voice heard, to affect change. I am for all of that. But I have always said you have to be willing to endure the consequences or the response. Free speech is not a monologue. It's a dialogue. I can't speak to what Kluwe's contract was with Edison High School, but I do know that just because he had something to say, it does not mean that his employer didn't also have something to say. He obviously was not just representing himself. And this is what I think a lot of people sometimes forget. Just because you are on your personal time, just because you're not at work, it does not mean you're not representing your employer. I know, double negative. Just because I leave here and I'm not behind the microphone, it doesn't mean that the things I do outside of here, let's say I'm shopping and I get into a fight at the mall, like I almost did over the weekend. I'll tell you about that a little later. It doesn't mean that if I were to get arrested, that it doesn't also have consequences for me because I'm on my free time. And that's a lesson I think especially young people need to remember. Just because you're not at work, it does not mean you're not representing your employer. I'm not going to take sides here and say that, yes, he should have been fired, but I do understand that when you do something so very public in nature and also then get arrested, there can be employment consequences. All right. The next time that Stephen goes out there and gets arrested for shoplifting, there's a good chance he just might. I know the next time as opposed to the last time.
I was like the next time. Jeez.
There's a chance that Stephen might lose his job. Word. I'm just letting you know. So don't get caught again. I don't know what Mark does in his free time. But he knows, that's why he tries to tell us as little as possible about his life.
Well, you'd just be bored.
Okay, Mark.
I doubt that.
Okay, Mark.
I doubt
all right. All the hoops we got to jump through to learn anything about you.
It's just so prosaic. It'd be disappointing for you. So let's just move on.
It's a CIA protocols.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right.
He's got at least 4 or 5 passports at home. One is like Mark Ronald. Another one is Mike Richter.
Yeah.
Another one is Moose Rasmussen or something.
That's right. I did have a pseudonym. I had a pseudonym for when I was employed at the Seattle Times and you couldn't freelance anywhere. If you look up the works of Milo Flynn, you'll find some pretty entertaining stuff.
Flynn?
Yeah, Milo Flynn.
Now do you see, Mark? Do you see why?
You got other pseudonyms.
Yeah,
Nom de plume.
Hurry, I've got a dead drop to make.
I don't know if you're kidding or not.
It's okay. It's need to know only around here.
But to be very serious, there's stuff that you can do just because you're not on the clock that'll get you fired in a heartbeat, whether you have a contract or not. And people lose sight of that. I support people's right to have their voice heard. Free speech. Okay. Free speech is saying that the government cannot come down to you. You cannot be arrested or prosecuted for your views. It does not mean you have a constitutional right to keep a job or stay employed with a certain location.
But you said he was a teacher with the school district,
he was
which
a football player. So, football coach. So, yes,
okay, right. Employed by a school, which is essentially employed by the state or the city. You want to know what the deal is that he signed up for. Because if they have a clause that says you have to shut your yap and anything. No,
I can say this, and I can say this because I've had a few contracts in my life. Most of these are boilerplate. And there's usually a clause saying if you should do something which could bring infamy to the employer, they can fire you. I mean, for example, I could be arrested, not even convicted, just the arrest and the news coverage of that. Oh, KFI host Mo Kelly was arrested for, defecating in public, hypothetically. Even though I might be later exonerated, I still could get fired.
I can tell you for a fact, if you work within the school system, if you work for a school district, the instant you get arrested, an alert pops up. An alert will pop up in our office because that is how our DOJ system works. And you can be fired immediately for an arrest. Doesn't matter if you're out there doing what's right. Doesn't matter. You're arrested. You can be fired.
It's not fair, but it's a fact. And that's a part of the contract that you sign, and the employer knows in advance that you're signing this so they can cut bait and protect themselves and their image in the event that you should get caught up in something. Not convicted, just arrested. That's what I believe has happened here. Even though he might be he is within his constitutional rights to go to the city council meeting and protest the MAGA sign and even sit there in civil disobedience and get arrested. Edison High School, I'm quite sure, has an airtight contract, which says that if you're doing something which brings infamy to the school or the school district, that could be grounds for termination.
And depending on who's enforcing that, it could be very broadly interpreted, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things you can do which can bring infamy or embarrass your employer. A lot. That's why I didn't get in a fight.
Oh, I got to hear this.
No. I was doing some shopping on Saturday. I just wanted to just get out and do some shopping. I had some time. And for some reason, people are more rude now than ever before. I'm in Del Amo Mall, and I'm walking. Where I was, it really doesn't matter, but I'm cutting a corner at Del Amo Mall trying to go towards the food court because they have this place called Sarku Japan as Japanese food. Love it. Always like to eat there. There's this guy, I want to say, just looking at him, he was maybe in his early 20s. He had the Bluetooth headphones on, so he's in his own world. He's not paying attention, all right? I'm trying to cut around this store corner, and I'm going on the inside. He is determined. He can see me, and he cuts me off. So I shoulder checked him. It's like, basically, fool, you see me here. You were intentionally cutting me off. And he turned and looked at me like he was going to do something. I said, what are you going to do? I said, we have mall police over there. We got real police over there. What are you going to do? We got cameras above us. And he just looked, he didn't say anything. And I said, what are you going to do? You're the one who started this confrontation. Now, I was going to let him take the first swing because why? If there was going to be a fight, there's going to be video, and I was going to get in trouble, and it had to be clear that I didn't start it.
Yep.
So whenever the video were to come out, it's going to be like, radio host defends himself in Del Amo Mall.
Oh, so you didn't trick him into swinging by pointing at him?
No.
Oh.
I always have my hands down because he was not within striking distance. He was about maybe 7 or 8 feet away from me.
You have robbed us all of an entertaining Reddit clip.
Oh, no.
That's why you point.
There were a lot.
Point an angry finger at him.
But on video,
that starts.
No, but on video, you see the angry finger, and this is all going through my mind. You don't hear what is being said, and it looks like at that point I'm the aggressor. I'm very excited because for a second there, it's like I'm getting ready to get in a damn fight in Del Amo Mall in front of everybody.
Well, I hate to sound like I'm egging you on, but couldn't you have done a little bit more, please?
I could have, and if he wanted to escalate it more, it probably would have led there.
You could have at least spit at his shoes.
I could have, but I'm very conscious of where I am, and in a situation like that, I will lose no matter what.
Well, Tuwala, I don't see how this helps us.
I know.
All I'm saying is you catch people on the right day, and it was one of those things where you were trying to start something, and I didn't feel like letting it go. It was just one of those things like, I'm not going to let this go. There are a lot of times those microaggressions, and people will do stuff. I'll be in Whole Foods across the street, and people will do a lot of dirty stuff over there, just really rude stuff, and I let a lot of it go. This was just one of those times where it's like, I know what you were doing. You know what you were doing. You were trying to start something, and I was going to at least let you know publicly, I'm aware. And then I want to dare you to do something after that.
Embrace the dark side, Mo.
Oh, look, I'm a petty mother father. I have no problem embracing it. I hug it like a warm blanket every single night. That's what people don't actually know. I'm glad that I'm not the old me. The old me, we're going right there in the middle of the mall because I'm going to goad him into that. Tuwala's laughing, but he's the same way. He's the exact same way.
I know.
It's like he was trying to take advantage. Yes, Stephen, I know we got to go to break. He was trying to take advantage, daring me, because I guess I was an old man to him or something, not to say something. And I called him out, and I looked at him like, we can do this right now. Right now. And if he would have stepped to me, I would let him have like the first swing. So he was not coordinated. I was not worried. He was not coordinated. You could tell by someone who looks his build. He was not athletic. No.
You can tell how they hold themselves.
Yeah.
How they're going to strike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just your shoulder movement lets me know. I know what you're about to do.
I'm just saying it was not worth losing my job. That's the moral of the story.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
We were talking about Halle Berry during the break, Tawala and me. We were talking about Halle Berry, and it was weird or strange to me because she planted this kiss on Adrian Brody, which is like a throwback, payback to 2003 when Adrian Brody placed this kiss on Halle Berry, and a lot of people didn't like that because it seemed like it was forced upon her. And I was just looking at it from a guy's perspective. I just do. When I saw Halle Berry kiss Adrian Brody, the question was like, where's Van Hunt, her boyfriend right now? And they've been together for maybe 2 or 3 years. According to People magazine, Van Hunt was with the kids last night. Quote, he's holding it down tonight. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do for the family. Well, Halle's kids are 16 and 11 years old. Didn't seem like they'd need a babysitter. And you would think Halle Berry could afford a babysitter. I don't know. I don't want to get in anyone's money. But I'm thinking they could afford a babysitter so Van Hunt and Halle Berry could go to the Oscars together. It's been on the calendar for quite some time. It just seemed odd to me.
It's the Oscars. What are you talking about? It's the Oscars. It's not, it's not dinner with some friends. It's the Oscars.
It's a pretty good date night.
It's a pretty solid date night.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And to not be there and have her plant that kiss on Adrian Brody, as a man, I can't speak for anyone else. I'm not insecure. I'm saying I wouldn't have liked it because one, Van Hunt, then he has to answer all the questions. Hey, were you okay with it? Did you have a problem with not going to the Oscars? And Halle Berry laying that kiss on Adrian Brody. And number two is just
it's not a good look.
I love Halle Berry. I mean that. I love Halle Berry. And I tell the story not as a boast. I've been around her enough to get a feel for her as a person. I think she's a wonderful individual.
Well, what kind of a feel for her?
An emotional feel, not a physical one.
All right, thank you.
She's one of those solid people. And from what I've seen, she really usually supports her man. And I knew her when she was dating and then married to Eric Benet, which I think was her second husband. But if I were Van Hunt, I'd feel some kind of way about this.
Would you feel the Will Smith way about it?
What? Go up and smack her or something?
Smack somebody.
No.
Okay.
No, I just feel like I would have felt kind of like, are you trying to emasculate me? It's like you're kissing some other guy at the awards and I'm not there. And I question why he's not there. And I also,
It's Chinatown, Jake.
Look,
I don't like it.
If the role was reversed, I don't know if she would like it. That's all I'm saying. Look, and if they have an understanding and agreement amongst themselves, whatever. But to me, I don't know.
Look, Van Hunt may just be better than us. Van Hunt may just be made of a different metal. And if he is, Mr. Hunt, I applaud you.
I just don't buy the excuse. Don't tell me that you couldn't find a babysitter and Van Hunt was the only one who would take care of someone who's like a junior in high school. when one of the kids is 16, there's your babysitter. You tell them, don't answer the door for anyone. Keep your phone on so we can contact you, and we'll be home by 2. Don't have a party while we're gone. Those are the general rules. The 16-year-old looks after the 11-year-old. I'm saying I'm not buying the public's version of this, all right? Not.
I know babysitting comes at a premium. I know. At one point in time, I had to get babysitters. I just know, and I'm not trying to get into Halle Berry's bank account. I just know she couldn't afford a babysitter.
Yeah, there's more to the story. KFI AM 640, we are live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You can listen to KFI everywhere. like you haven't noticed.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.